This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason. What do you have going on tonight?
Well, tonight's talk about I want to talk about a series that's very near and dear to my heart because I picked it as like the best series I read like for comics last year, and that is Chainsaw Man, Tatsuki Fujimoto's saga about a kid who like had nothing going for him, but then struck a pact with like a cute little like a chainsaw devil to become like this guy who's gonna like filled with chainsaws that's gonna like like murder all the devils and make everything safe for mankind, because that's how these things go, right? Wrong. It's like his life was like filled with like people who got to know him, got to love him, and then they died badly as well. It's like, and like things got terrible too. It's like it was incredible. It's like it was pretty great. And then after like the series like hit its stride, its creator went on put it on hiatus for 2 years, which on one hand, it's like seems like a like kind of a dick move when you've got like a hit series for Shonen Jump. But then when you put out like a couple of one shots, specifically Look Back in it's like in 2021, it's like and Goodbye Eri in 2022, that basically show you that, hey, this guy's got the guts to make like things like the best things I've read in years. It's like, then yeah, actually like looks less like a ball, looks less like a dick move than like a baller move. And it's like, hey, he's got the guts to like just put a series on hiatus and then just say like say, hey, you're just gonna wait until I'm ready to give it to you, and then when he gives it to you, it's actually really good. Which I thought that the follow up for Chainsaw Man was really solid. It's like, and hey, it's like, if you remember correctly, remember like last year I brought my buddy Steve to talk about Chainsaw Man last time. Well, he's back again, and hey Steve, glad to have you here.
Hello again.
Yeah, so I mean I think I just said like I like Chainsaw Man. In fact, hey, didn't they have an anime series about it? Like in the meantime between when we last talked about it.
It's incredible. It's, just production values out the ass. Like studio map is all over it. They had unique credits for each episode. Who does that? Nobody, unless they're very confident in the product. And, like these really high frame rate like action sequences, just a really great production.
Yeah, it's like the Chainsaw Man anime was fantastic, and Steve and I like we were all over it when we were watching it as it came out on a weekly basis last year. And it's like, yeah, it's like each episode had a unique ending sequence, and on one hand you could tell that Mappa was like deeply invested like in the series like for that, and apparently they also funded the series as well, to the point where it's like it's like this is like something that you don't hear about other anime series doing. Like it's just like the production model series where you see like a bunch of people that like investing in things, and the anime studio comes in as an afterthought. But nope, Papa believed in this, so we're going to put up all the money for Chainsaw Man beforehand. And well, they said that yeah, this worked out for them. Like the sad thing is, apparently they said that the DVD and Blu-ray sales weren't apparently on the same level as say their previous success, Jujutsu Kaisen, which on one hand is disappointing, but even then, it's like like I'm looking forward to seeing what Mappa does next with Chainsaw Man, even though, well, there's been no word on it yet, sadly.
Mm.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we've got this current like this like the rest of Chainsaw Man, which I'm honestly surprised that we're still like waiting for like it's like the trade paperback, the collected editions like in the U.S. here, because while Japan has apparently had volume 12 out for a while now, volume 12 is still to arrive on like on these shores. So basically, the reason I decided to do this podcast is because Chainsaw Man basically made its return to the pages of Shonen Jump. It's like in like the beginning of July of last year. So that's mean we basically had like a full year of Chainsaw Man comics, but no collected editions to talk about. So we've got like 3 volumes worth of Chainsaw Man to talk about. But we've got actually had to like organize our thoughts in order to talk about things because, well, I guess you could say like a lesser Shonen Jump series coming off of hiatus would have just like just gone like bigger and better. It's like, hey, it's protagonist is back, and now they're fighting like bigger monsters, meaner monsters. It's like, and maybe like like our protagonist is just like doing stranger things, but all the other supporting cast is just missing. It's like, and we'll get back to them later. Well, that's not what happened with Chainsaw Man. It's like Chainsaw Man. Well, first chapter back didn't have Chainsaw Man at all. It had our new protagonist, Asa Mitaka, who is really antisocial. She is kind of kind of unlikable. It's like, and when we're introduced like the like her class, it's like we've got a new devil in there, the Chicken Devil, Bucky, who is it's like being introduced to the class and as being like by the teacher saying like, hey, yeah, here's our new devil. It's like, and you're gonna like get to know him, and then in 90 days you're gonna kill him because he's the devil. And everyone's kind of like is just kind of like getting to know him, and Bucky's like a really weird funny devil who's just like lot big on dad jokes and whatnot. It's like, and he's just and while everyone is just like like getting to know him and like him, Asa is just like, oh, he's a devil. It's like, I don't like him at all. He's just weird. Up until the point where she finally opens her heart a bit, and then she says, oh, it's like, okay, yeah, like I'll try to understand what you are. And then she trips. She takes him in her arms. She runs towards class, trips, falls, and crushes him like with the weight of her body. This is our new protagonist for Chainsaw Man. Isn't she great, right, Steve?
She's pretty great. It's hard to like her at the start. And honestly, it's if I'm going to be perfectly honest, it's still a little hard to like her. But I think that's kind of the point, right? Like you had Denji, who was he's a
dealt
unique
a bad
character.
hand.
Yeah, but he's a unique character, and he might be a bit crass, but ultimately he generally does the right thing. Maybe the motivations are not quite pure, but he generally will do the right thing, even if he's a little weird about it. But this character's she's just a little hard to like, and I think that's okay. It's good to have a change of pace, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're absolutely right because she is hard to like, but I think this is all like deliberate because like we learn like the more we learn about her, it's like from her like how her mother died, how she is kind of responsible for how her mother died. It's like, and also like the stuff that she suffered up until this point. Like she like her cat. I mean, like God, that was horrible. I mean, that was just like a short aside, like in the course of the manga. It's like as we learn about like the foster home she was sent to, and then how she had to give up her cat. It's like in order because the foster mother like basically said, oh, it's not fair that everyone else has everyone else lost their family, but you still have your cat. And Asa's like, okay, here you go. Make sure she finds a good home. And then she finds out from someone else in her foster home, like, yeah, we saw your cat looked like yours. Like, wasn't she at the bottom of the river? Yeah, that's fucked up. That's kind of like how Asa's life goes, and it's easy to understand like how she has this this mentality, but well, it's like that actually makes her like a like a good mark for like one of the main devils of the series, the this new run, the War Devil Yoru. It's like she's like now she's basically like like seduced to her side, and just theoretically speaking, because Asa is just like determined to be difficult, no matter even if like the person who is like trying to work with her, like has her own like opinions as well, because even like the War Devil wants to help her, Asa is like being really difficult about it. Whether it's not being scared when she wants, when she's also trying to like save like one of her new friends. The friends. It's Yoku, right? Yuka.
Gotcha.
Yuka.
Yeah, that's right. I think.
Yeah. So it's like so Asa is just like she's even when she's like like decides to be selfish, she can't bring herself to be selfish. And then when the war devil tries to like convince her, hey, you why don't you make the best weapon possible by like turning someone you can be turning someone into a weapon you can be guilty about. Well, why don't you get this other kid in your class who's just like clearly has the hots for you, or is like really easy to like you, like this Denji guy. It's like, why don't you like try to make him your boyfriend? And that goes well, right, Steve?
Yeah, well, this is so I don't know. I forget if you just mentioned this, but the War Devil has taken up residence after a certain incident. War Devil takes up residence inside Asa,
Yes,
and you may
but
note
she's
that
got kind of like a similar situation to Denji, but not quite. But she can still interact with Asa, and the War Devil can still interact even after the War Devil has infiltrated her soul. So there you go.
right, and they've got the two names that are opposed to each other. There's Asa, that's morning, right, and you've got Yoru, the War Devil, and it's like evening or twilight, right? So,
Mhm.
real subtle, real on the nose about the you know about the relationship between the two, because War Devil is just basically like it, largely like the opposite personality of Asa, I think.
Yeah, it's like the War Devil is Yoru is just like really it's like she's just like definitely like a means just justifies the ends kind of thing, and also she's kind of dumb on her own ways in terms of like how she like interacts with characters in like in the real world. Interject your own like war is dumb joke here. So, but
War. What is it good for? Single-use equipment, I guess, because that's her whole shtick. Um, she can turn things that she owns, uh, or at least perceives that she owns, or as um, usually weapons, but sometimes other equipment. Often it's single use.
mhm, yeah. But Asa has just been like a really interesting protagonist to follow because she's meant to be she's intentionally meant to be unlikable from what just from the impression I get just from reading this, just from like her like when you see her like your date with Denji in the aquarium. It's like and how she's just like saying, hey, we're gonna have the best date possible if you just listen to me talk about everything here. And he's like, what? No. It's like, and then it's like when she has to like actually rely on Denji in order to like get some actual sustenance when they're trapped in the aquarium. It's like it's cute as well, especially when she finds a way out of things too. It's like, and then when we get to the falling devil business, it's like, and like she has to find a way to deal with like being struck with fear by the by that devil. Oh, and also being rescued by Chainsaw Man as well, which is pretty great. But the way things are at the current point in the series, like she's just like having to deal with like, oh, I've been rescued by Chainsaw Man twice. It's like I don't know how do I deal with this. But I'm looking forward to seeing like where things go with her because I like seeing like someone who brushes against convention, as thoroughly as like as she does here. Because it seems like that's kind of like the point of where things are in the series right now, not just like a happy accident.
Yeah, it'll be good to see where things go. But I think that's always been a strong point of uh, Fujimoto's work. The characters are always unique, and they always interact with each other in unexpected ways.
Yeah, it's like he just finds ways to go in different directions from where we expected them to, and that's what I've liked about how things are going from here. That's also true of like our old protagonist Denji, who basically has been turned into a supporting character in his own series. Which it's like on one hand it's like that's bad luck, Denji. But at the same time, it's like he's been dealt a shit hand from the start, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a pretty rough time of it, and even now, at this point in the story, he's pretty happy with his very ordinary life. Although, there's he still wants to be Chainsaw Man, but even if people tell him not to be. But I suppose that's a matter for a different discussion.
I don't know. It's like I think we're ready to have that right now because he doesn't show up until like a few chapters in, like, and basically it's like when he finally does show up, he's given an ultimatum by the devil he's fighting. He says like, here's like this kid who's like got his whole life ahead of him, and then on the other hand, here are these old people in this car. I'm gonna drop them. It's like, and you're gonna save whoever like you think is most worthy. And what does he do? He kills the devil and then saves the cat that was hanging from the building behind him, because he says, "Dude, you forgot the cat, man." Yep, that's our hero right here. It's like, and it's like, sure, it's like I'm sad for all the people who died. No, I'm not. I'm a cat person. I'm glad he saved the cat. So, and I'm also glad that Meowie is still a part of the series, even though you don't find that out until the most recent chapter. But Genji is still like dumb, selfish, like in ways that like I think they're like are really entertaining, or at least definitely relatable. For it's like for like anyone who's been a teenager and like thinks that they're the center of the world, and like it's fun seeing him just like come across all the like challenges he's like in this new series by saying, because he's also still trying to earn as much money as possible because he needs to send his new little sister to college, but also he wants to get the chicks as well. And in fact, one of his main goals, like in this new era, is to find a way to cleverly expose himself as Chainsaw Man to the world. And he's doing this really well, isn't he, Steve?
Well, I mean, he really wants to, but who's that? There's someone who's like strongly encouraging him and then later threatening him not to do so, right?
Yes, I wish I could remember his name, but he's like he was one of the guy. He's one of the freelance devil hunters who showed up in the it's like in the Father Christmas arc where everyone's trying to kill Denji. It's like after everyone at the world became aware of Chainsaw Man's presence, but now this guy is basically just like is working for some other organization, not public safety, but a other organization who basically says, no, Denji he just wants to, Denji, don't be Chainsaw Man. Just you're just gonna like be an ordinary person. It's like, and that's gonna be cool for you, right? And Denji's like, no, man. It's like, once everyone knows once all the people know I'm Chainsaw Man, all the chicks will be all over me. Yeah. So it's like that's I mean, like I like that how like Denji's still very much Denji, even as he's now a high schooler. And also it's funny to see his interaction with Asa. It's like, especially like early on when he basically tries to when he's introduced to her by our like secret government official, and he tries to justify Chainsaw Man's status to her. And she's like, Chainsaw Man never ate anyone except for that one time.
That's classified.
Yes, yeah. And then when he tries to tell her that she's like, he tells her, I'm Chainsaw Man, really? And she's like, ew, gross, lame. It's like it's love at first sight, really, or at least until like she they go to the aquarium, they find themselves trapped in infinity, and and then they get out, but then like he decides to invite her over to his place, which it goes pretty well, doesn't it? Because I guess it's time to start talking about the one character from the previous run that we've actually made an effort to reintroduce.
Right. So Nayuta, who's the reincarnated control devil after the events of after the events of the first, what do you want to call it, installment?
The first arc, because I mean, on one hand, it's like I'm assuming that, I mean, I would say spoiler warning, but anyone probably listening to like a podcast about the following up like the second arc of Chainsaw Man has probably already read what happened to like the first arc, or at least if you haven't, you really should have, because it was really good. Because when we say like that one person Chainsaw Man ate, spoilers, it was Makima, but she got better, right?
Well, yes, sorta. Like, there's Nayuta's, who is, I guess, Denji's ward at this point, is the reincarnation of the Control Devil, and so far, she's been pretty, uh, compared to what Makima was up to, she's relatively harmless. Like, she's using her powers still to control a pile of dogs. She's stealing pudding from her classmates, and occasionally saving Denji.
And also like realizing that hey, maybe the world is worth saving after all. Yeah.
Because she's got to go to class.
Yeah. It's like, and also like if the world were to end, there'd be no pizza
Or Chinese food.
exactly. So I think we like, I mean, even if like Denji may not be like the best parent, I think we can call his efforts here like a win, like so far, right?
Yeah, like he's doing the best he can. He's doing the best he can with this with this reincarnation of
Former employer who is now
his
his ward,
former
and
boss, lover, nemesis. Well, not
yes,
lover. His crush. His crush. It was
yes.
always one-sided. Yes, it's complicated.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really like one sided, because she said she wanted, if she realized that if she wanted to have him beaten by him, she'd be fine with that, which is I'm sure why like this whole resurrection thing worked in the first place. Good times, huh? So on one hand, it's like I like what he's been doing with Nayuta, to the point where it's like like she is like unpredictable, in the sense that she does seem to really care for Denji, and she's also like willing to listen to him. It's like as a big brother. It's like, and it's fun to see her screw with Asa, because while Asa is willing to go over to like Denji's place in order to like try and be a proper girlfriend to him, well the War Devil like thinks that, hey, this is the right time to make a move on him. And then when she does, well, Nayuta shows up, and like shit gets weird. So it's like it's interesting to see like like how it's like how it's like how Denji and Nayuta like are like relate to each other, because like it does seem that he's actually like having a positive influence on her, like considering like her previous incarnation was pure fucking evil, like from the previous series. So I'm curious to see if like this is something that's going to stick, or if it's just going to like get weird and awful in new interesting ways, like for the like as the series goes on, because that she seems to be invested in the human, like in the human world, in a way that Makima like wasn't. So it does seem like maybe there isn't any Makima left in her, but she still got that like, I'm gonna like use my powers to get my pudding like whenever I want. So there. Yeah. But it's like she's just like one of the new devils we've seen in this new series, because yeah, we already talked about Bucky, the chicken devil, who we're glad you're dead, Bucky. It's like, I mean, your only real purpose here was just seeing was just like dying to make Amasa's life miserable. And then and you're the War Devil. I mean, she's interesting as well, but it's also it's like she's got like she's dumb in ways that are interesting, in ways that complement Asa's own social awkwardness. And looking forward, and like I said, it's like it's fun. It's interesting to see like how whether or not she's going to be able to like actually like push the story forward, especially since her sister, her big sister, Fami, aka the Famine Devil, it's like had a plan to bring her under subservience as well, because well, you hear like Wharf Devil, Famine Devil, and apparently we're getting like so that we're getting like a four horsemen of the apocalypse devils set up here. Because also it does sound like Fami is also kind of like close with the control devil as well, because there's war, famine, death, and then the other devil is always other horsemen of the apocalypse has always been like kind of vague. Like there's pestilence,
Pestilence?
horror, so fear. Um, I guess I mean like also if you're looking if you're adhering to like the Judge Dredd style of like devils, then yeah, it's like it's what they're doing here is kind of like it's kind of like off model, but yeah, it's like it does seem like with war and famine, it's like we're doing like a four horsemen of the four horse devils of the apocalypse here. So like it's like I'm curious to see where this goes, but we've also been seeing some interesting stuff, especially with the Justice Devil, because hey, it's like this is a devil who will take your sense of justice and turn it into power. That's great because it'll allow you to just turn into a giant monster that will just allow you to murder people in your school for your own ends, right, Steve?
It's well, I mean, you're inflicting your justice on others, whether they want it or not. And
Yeah,
it's it as you might expect, we give this power to high
teenagers.
schoolers. Yeah, you get some variable uh you get variable results, but invariably they're bloody.
Yeah, which is great. Which is great for the series. It's like, and especially when like one of the recipients turns out to be like one of the few friends that, well, not really friends, but people who Asa's actually able to have like relatively normal social interactions with. That's that's um it's like Yuka. It's like she's someone who just like it's like who gets to remember the Devil Hunter Club, who gets to know like Yoru, and when she sees that like some people that have like put chicken guts in her cubby hole, like ruining her shoes, like she offers to give her like one of her own, like as just her friendship. But then she also tells her that and then I also killed the guy who was living in my like living next to me because he was like gambling with his welfare money, because that's not right. So yeah, it's like the Justice Devils like disciples have been pretty interesting. And then you get it's like the one devil who I forgot, was it the Fear Devil who like took over the aquarium? Was actually meant to be the one from the previous series?
That's a good question. I was actually wondering about that myself. I didn't bother to look it back up, but yeah, if it's not the same devil, it's basically a reskin of that devil.
Yeah,
Where once again, people end up trapped in an infinite liminal space you know, until the devil's is located and murdered.
yeah, or at least until the devil is bought. Wink, wink.
That's
That
right.
Yeah, that was handled pretty well. It's like, and then you've got the falling devil, which is introduces a primal fear, and also like this one is handled pretty well too, in the sense that like you're it's just like one who is it's like if you're basically who is able to like if you're able to like instill like fear in the character, then you've got it's like then you'll succumb to it and it will fall upwards, which is interesting because hey, it's like there's no like the sky is infinite as well. It's like, and then you get but then with like with Asa and Denji's case, Denji is great because like when he fights the falling devil, he's just like, you stole apples, that's bad, it's like you're a thief. And then when she tries to like like instill fear in him, well, like we get some images of like familiar characters from the previous series, and then while he's like disappears for like a panel or two, he comes right back because like he says like whenever it's like someone tries to attack my brain, I just chainsaw my brain and I'm good. That's our Denji.
It's a very Denji response.
Yeah, and especially his response when Asa tells him as Chainsaw Man, why do you even why is there even a reason to keep on living in the hall? It's like because I want to have sex, and she's like, ew.
It's a good interaction. It's great. It's very Denji. It's one of the reasons why I like Chainsaw Man. Just it's the series and also the character. Right? It's the right mix of crass, absurd, occasionally poignant, subversive. It's all those things.
Yeah, and also it's like you just don't know where things are going to go, especially when another Chainsaw Man shows up in front of Denji after he's fallen into hell again. It's like and tells him you've got to survive until morning in order to escape the falling devil. Because I one of the things I was surprised to read when learn when going across this again. Is that there is apparently another Chainsaw Man in the series, one that kills a specific character in this series, then the one that shows up in front of Denji to tell him this. And then now that in the point where we left off, well, we've got the Church of Chainsaw Man, which is all the rage amongst the youth in Japan now. Well, is this new Chainsaw Man we've seen the final chapter? Is this the actual Chainsaw Man, or is this a dupe? Is it is it like a or is this other new Chainsaw Man a Denji from another timeline, which I know we talked about this beforehand, but think you're probably right, Steve, about the idea about this not being a Chainsaw Man from their timeline because well, Fujimoto hasn't gone into multiverse theory yet.
Yeah, not ruling it out, just unlikely.
Yeah, but I mean, for all we know, it's maybe it could be that, but maybe it could be something else. Maybe it's another character that we haven't the return of another character who we haven't seen yet because I gotta give Fujimoto credit for this. He hasn't used the return of Chainsaw Man as a chance to bring back other characters that we thought were dead. Because if someone died in the previous series, chances are they're still pretty dead. It's Aki, yeah, probably still dead. Power, kind of sad that she's gone, but yeah, she's still probably pretty dead. Kobeni,
Fans would metaphorically and literally cream their pants if she returned.
yes, yes, they would. Kobeni, well, she's probably still working at that family restaurant place. If she's still lucky. I don't know. It's could this new Chainsaw Man be Kishibe?
Who knows?
Yeah, probably not. But I don't know. I got it. The fact that Fujimoto has made a pretty clean break with a lot of the expected characters and conventions of the previous series. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that he's trying to give us something new with this return. Even though it took a lot of balls to change out your protagonist for someone who was really weird and incapable and antisocial. I think it's kind of worked. And also, hey, do you think we're going to see Nostradamus as the ultimate villain of this arc?
That's a good question. The Nostradamus's prophecies are playing into the current events of the storyline because the story's taking place in the late 90s, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember what Nostradamus's prophecies were. Do you remember them off the top of your head?
All I remember is that he got Hitler's name off by one letter.
Okay. Well, do you remember anything besides the fact that it's a bunch of end of the world type of prophecies?
That shit was really cool. That I'm talking about Nostradamus was as the Hairbringer of the End was really cool back in pre Y2K. Yeah. Yeah. But I guess does Nostradamus say anything about like Chainsaw Man's cast ending? Like, is everyone going to end either like dead or happy?
Given Fujimoto's track record, there definitely isn't going to be a plain old happy ending. Um, it'd be a real surprise and a change of pace if he did, but that's just not what he does.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like things ended happily enough for everyone in Fire Punch, right?
The ah, if that's the way you want to interpret, like this entropy style end of the world universe, uh, where only our main character gets reunited with someone he wants to meet again. Is that how it ended? It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it is.
Um,
So basically, you're saying like if Denji is reunited with Power, then it's all cool then.
mm, I don't know who does he really want to meet again. Like he really wants
Hmm.
he'd want to meet Pochita again, certainly.
True, but I also think like maybe he'll want to meet someone who'll actually have people who have sex with him as well. So maybe he'll see like OG Makima again.
hmm. Mm, a possibility, though. I'd be a little bit sad if he decided to repeat, you know, Fire Punch's ending beats.
True. So, but I guess do you like are you happy with like how Chainsaw Man has been going in this past year then?
Yeah, the the manga continues to be like interesting to read. Like the I have nothing but good things to say about the anime. Yeah, I think I think just stay the course. I'm here. I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, me too. Because like I mean, like, it took a lot of guts to just like say like, hey, I'm not gonna make my main character the main character of the series anymore. It's like I'm gonna have him, and also gonna have him like be kind of like sad and whiny, especially in these last couple chapters, which is like no, it's like I don't want to stop being Chainsaw Man, but I also don't want you to kill my little sister as well. Which good luck with that, guys. So and
That's Denji, he's by turns empathetic and also selfish, and childish.
yeah, it's like I think that's for me at least. Like I think that's kind of like that's what makes him like endearing to me. It's like it's like I'm looking forward to seeing if he isn't the main character of this new run. It's like I want to see like what Fujimoto does with him, and I want to see what Fujimoto keeps doing with it not with Asa as well because she is fascinating and like in how like we can make a new character, new protagonist like as unlikable as she is. It's like and just have her still be interesting and endearing as well. So yeah,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm really on board with where Fujimoto is going with this, and I guess if anyone's willing to hear us say like like bad things about where things are going, then sorry, man. It's like we're still in the tank for Fujimoto. I mean, even if he said to stop put Chainsaw Man on hiatus again, I'd be fine as long as he kept dealing out one shots on the level of Look Back and Goodbye Eri, which I will mention that Goodbye Eri is hitting paperback really soon. So check that when you can, and also continue to check Chainsaw Man out like when it hits paperback as well, which should be relatively soon, or just get yourself a subscription to Shonen Jump and check out the everything we've talked about in like the last year because like there's been like 3 volumes worth of Chainsaw Man like in the last year. So there you go. And John, um, any thoughts on your end about all this?
Not really, but that seems like the cheap way to go. Just get the subscription. I don't know. That's cheaper, right?
It's like $4 a month. So
That's cheap.
I mean that's how I read all this. I don't know
Yep.
how Steve read this, but I'm sure Steve read this through completely legitimate means, right?
Chainsaw Man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I read it all entirely through Manga Plus.
Okay.
And I went back through their they have some app that's available through the major like online app stores that gives you like a one time free read through like all of their chapters. Um, so yeah, I took a look at that for to refresh my memory about the things we were going to talk about today.
Cool. Okay.
Cool.
Well, hey, thanks again for joining us, Steve. It's like always good to have you join us for these things.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And just as a quick note, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Well, it's gonna be like something we've talked about before the show. And we're gonna keep talking about it again until it's all done. Well, Sean Murphy's Batman White Knight series has another volume like on board, and like John and I are gonna be talking about Batman Beyond the White Knight for next time.
All right. Sounds great. We'll talk to you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
Right, laters.